وأنا لما بقى بصربيا المنطقة في صربيا كاسمها كلمة خبرونا إنه الحدود مسكرة، الحدود الهنغارية والحدود الكرواتية كمان كانت مسكرة. قالوا لنا هدول المخيمات إنه ما راح تقدر تضلوا فيها مدة طويلة والشتاء، فقلنا لهم إنه راح نروح عن طريق هنغاريا. كنا ناس يعني كلها عن طريق القطارات. وصل الحدود كان في ناس كثير هونيك يعني بأعداد كثير، يعني عائلات، سيارات، منظمات خيرية، الصحفيين كانوا موجودين هونيك، كان في سيارات إسعاف، كان في شرطة هونيك في الصربية.
When we heard news about some riots happening here at the small border crossings, a crowd started gathering near the fence and the gate, which was the gate into Hungary. And at that time, the riot police moved back. So there was a gate at the crossing, and the policemen were lining up in front of it on the Hungarian side, and then for some reason they moved all the way back, and nobody knew why this was happening. So people still gathered in front of this gate, and after a while a young guy climbed this gate and all the people were cheering and clapping hands. So the guy got braver and he went over on the other side of the fence, and the police did nothing. So more and more young guys climbed this gate and went over, and one of them actually opened the gate. So the two gates were opened, and the only people who saw this were those in front, because there was a huge crowd of thousands of people in the back, and obviously they couldn't see what was happening in the front. So so most of them actually thought that the Hungarians opened these gates and finally allowed them to pass. So they were quite happy about it. They were clapping and cheering and chanting thank you, and Hungaria, and they started to move through the open gates.
جمعت المي والأكل، بعدين سمعت صوت إنه واحد يقول إنه الحكومة قبل الهنغارية قبل أن تفتح البوابة إن حالنا ونحن هونيك. بس قبل كان إنه لما وصلنا على الحدود سألت شرطة هونيك، شرطة الصربية، قالوا لي إنه تم هون الشرطة الهنغارية راح تفتح الحدود. وقتها رحنا لعند البوابة من الجانب الهنغاري فتح. كيف فتح مثل ما بعرف يعني. البوابة فتحت، فالناس مع المنظمات مع الحقيقية مع الصف الأولي كانوا عمان وأولاد صغار وهدايرة كانوا وكان في مقعدين كمان. فالناس فاتوا طبعا هدول هلا إنه كلنا فتنا الحدود وخسرنا قلم. Thank you, Hungary.
And the police was still standing and doing nothing about it. And then after a while, when the people reached the front line of the police, without warning, the police started firing tear gas, water cannon, and started beating up people. It's like it happened in a moment. Like so people got afraid. They were frightened, obviously, and they started to flee this scene. And that actually was a bit dangerous because a lot of people started rushing in the opposite direction, and there were a lot of kids and women and young persons and even elderly among the crowd. So
بعدها وقفت يعني الشرطة كانت على الحدود ووقفت كصف وقف قدامنا، فكنا راح يفتحوا يعني خلاص يعني احنا وصلنا وراح يخلونا عندنا. كان هناك بزوم محطة قطار كانت يعني، ففكرنا انه راح نطلع محطة محل شيء. فتقريبا الشرطة هجمت فطيح. الصف الأول كان طيح إنه الشرطة هجمت وصار ناس إنه بعضها على الحدود يعني. فأنا وقعت وقتها يعني الناس صارت تدفش يعني الشرطة صارت تحاول ترجع الناس لحدود تربية، فكانت تهجم، كانت تضرب كل وقت يعني مصايب، كان وسيلة عم بيضربوا أي شيء كان بإيده كان بيضربوا.
When the crowd was already leaving this area, the police started firing these tear gas canisters into Serbian territory.
والله نحن يعني في ناس يعني خبرونا بس ما نصدق كان الناس يعني جاي، بس لما نحن على الحدود قالوا لنا لا انه الحدود راح تنفتح، ما قالوا انه مسكرت. ايوه قال استنوا هون، الشرطه قالت لي انه استنوا رح ينفتح. حلو الشرطه الصربيه قالت.
And the Hungarian authorities were not giving any sort of information to them. So there was no communication between the refugees and the Hungarian authorities. So, in this situation, everybody was just guessing, even us, because we didn't know what was going to happen.
ردة فعلهم انه يعني هن كمان تفاجئوا يعني ما بيقدروا يتابعوا يعني يا لا بيقدروا يرجعوا يعني يقدموا لمكان يعني يروحوا.
The attack was very, very sudden and very violent. They had riot police in the front with shields and headgear and batons and whatnot. So, there were a lot of press in the front, and even they got beaten, some of them quite severely. So, actually, no one expected the police to attack so violently and viciously and quickly without any warning. I've seen a lot of kids affected by tear gas, treated by doctors. So basically, there were wounds, there were bruises, there were people with heads bleeding.
It was the 16th of September when the people broke into Hungary through the border station, which was closed at that time. Like I said, it was most probably at least partly provoked by the police. And then 11 of these hundreds of people were arrested. To my knowledge, there was no clear criteria based on which they were chosen, just randomly. These people were found guilty for illegal border crossing, but with one very specific addition, that they did this, they carried out this illegal border crossing in the form of a mass riot, which is actually putting the prison sentence up to the maximum of 3 years. The legal background of immigration was largely modified with a new law that was put in force on the same day when the border was closed down. The government calls it legal border protections. The border is not in the point of view of the government. They don't just protect the border with a fence, but also by modifying the legal background of migration. Before the 15th of September last year, illegal border crossing was only a minor offense of the law, which could be punished with fine of a few euros maybe. Nobody actually really took it seriously. And since the 15th of September, it's a major criminal offense. It's a legal felony to cross the border illegally, which can be punished with up to 3 years in jail, and can be punished with up to 3 years of expulsion from Hungary. And there are, of course, factors like committing the illegal border crossing in a group, or like the one case that is on with the Horgos rioters is committing illegal border crossing in the form of a mass riot. That is the most serious way of committing this horrible crime of border crossing, which is in almost all cases would be 3 years of jail time.
When the doors were open, most of the people, maybe 100, 200, came through the fence at the door, and but 11 persons were taken to the police station. Who we represent, one is with wheelchair. Actually, he fall down from the wheelchair in the Serbian side, and because of that situation, the police take them to the Hungarian part. It is actually, no one knows how it could happen, because the police are not allowed to go to the Serbian side, but somehow he get in the Hungarian territory, but the wheelchair was in the Serbian side, so he couldn't walk alone. So we are sure that someone helped for him, and our other client is an old lady, and she went to the door with her daughter and granddaughter, and after her daughter went back to the Serbian part, because one son were in the Serbian side. So she was also taken to the police station, and all the people, it is a quite, no one knows why they were taken to the police station, and why they started this procedure just in front of them, why they were suspected with the criminal, because there were thousands of people.
There are hours of video footage about the whole story made by, there were dozens of TV channels there at the moment, and also the police was videotaping the events, and none of these, like Tima said very correctly, I think none of these footage were made public, and the video footage prepared by the police was deleted 30 days afterwards. Which might, and many people claim, including many human rights organizations, that this riot was actually provoked by the Hungarian police. But of course it's hard to prove these charges.
It was very interesting that these videos was not proof in the procedure.
Yeah.
So they just it's like a kind of passport, for example, which was in the case, the record, but it was not a proof. The prosecutor doesn't want to use it like a proof.
We would be more clever if we actually saw the police footage, because the police had a footage of it, but they never released it. And after 30 days, it was destroyed. So.
Anyway, in that case, there was just only 10 persons, because one of them were separated in the beginning of the situation, who was suspected not with the illegal border crosses, but he is with terrorism. So he is still in Budapest, as I know. His case hasn't been finished also.
The legal background of pushbacks also changed. Since the 5th of July this year, if border crossers are captured within 8 kilometers from the border, then they can legally be pushed back into Serbia. However, this is just a legitimization of an already existing practice, I think, that the Hungarian police was doing this. And in some cases, refugees report about abuse of power or outright violence on behalf of the Hungarian police. and there was also a very serious incident which happened in this river behind me, the Tisza River, in this summer, early summer this year, that two brothers were swimming through the river from Serbia into Hungary. There is a 5-6 kilometers long section on which the Tisza is the border between Serbia and Hungary before the Tisza flows into Serbian territory. And some smugglers use this place to tell the refugees that if you swim through the river, you are already in Hungary. Police was also patrolling the Hungarian bank of the river, and these two brothers from Iraq, they were swimming through the river at night, and on the Hungarian bank of the river, the Hungarian police spotted them, and they started to shoot pepper spray on them while they were still trying to swim onto Hungarian territory. And they were saying, go back, go back. And then they started swimming back, and one of the brothers made it, but the other one drowned into the river with pepper spray in his eyes.